I told my sister, if she sets one foot inside my nephew's wedding, I'll drag her out myself. Family thinks I'm the a-hole. Long-time lurker. Never thought I would make a post, but I'm angry and not thinking clearly. I also apologize in advance. I'm a brute and don't mince words. I am 47F. My nephew Joey, 21, is getting married in 2 weeks, and his mother Judy, 45, is trying to come, but I've adamantly told her not to because of how much crap she's put him through in recent years. When Joey was 18, he was in a car crash with his father. His father died a few days later, and Joey was also hurt, but obviously survived. I know all of this was triggered by my sister's grief, and I am trying to be mindful of that. First, she purposely missed his high school graduation because she couldn't imagine being there without his father. Joey was understanding, and thankfully me and his girlfriend, now fiance's family, were there for him. Judy insisted on still hosting a graduation party a week or so later. I wasn't able to get there until towards the end. When I got there, most of the guests had left, and Judy was a drunken mess and was wailing about her husband's death. I told Joey to pack a bag and to come to my house for the weekend, which he did. Judy swore she would do better and begged him to come back home, which again, he did. A couple months went by, and Joey asked if I could drive him home to work because his car had been totaled. He looked terrible when I got him, so I asked him what was up. He said that he's been working 70 hours a week because Judy had gotten laid off. I asked him how his car got totaled, and he said Judy had crashed it while driving intoxicated. At that point, our mom and I sat down with her to try to get her into some sort of treatment or counseling, and she agreed. But later we learned she never went. I take partial responsibility for not following up. Some months later, Joey called me again, this time for a ride to the courthouse to get Judy out of jail. All he said was that she had gotten drunk and got herself arrested. But when I picked him up, he had fresh cuts on his arm and jawline. Turns out she assaulted him when he refused to get her more to drink. I begged him to come stay with me, but Judy insisted she would get help if he would stay and help her, which he did. I would call and talk to Joey once or twice a week to make sure he and Judy were safe. She didn't go into treatment, but he said things had calmed down. After a few months, he stopped responding to calls and only sent short text responses. Sometime later, those stopped too. Throughout all of this, he has been supported by his fiancée. I started getting my updates on Joey's well-being through her occasional social media posts. They got engaged, and her family is paying for the small, intimate wedding and reception that they've chosen to have. As far as I knew, things were better. He seemed happy in her posts. Then I was blindsided about 2 weeks ago when Joey's fiancée called me. She said Joey needed my help and asked if she could drive him over to my house. When they got there, he was shaking, hyperventilating, and threw up multiple times. When he finally calmed down, he said his mother had gone into a drunken rage some weeks ago and started trying to rip and burn everything left of her husband's. When Joey stopped her, she started wrecking his stuff, all while she was screaming that she wanted her husband back and wished Joey had died instead. She was blaming him for the crash, the whole 9 yards. Joey said this has been going on for months, and the night prior to his girlfriend bringing him to me, he came home and found that she had burned all of his father's pictures, old clothes, everything. I went to confront Judy. She agreed once again to enter treatment, and this time she followed through. Joey has been staying with me since. Every time I ask about the wedding or when his girlfriend goes over plans with him, he turns pale and miserable. I asked him what was up with that, and he wouldn't really answer. But I asked if it was because of his mom. I asked if he wanted her off the guest list. He didn't have it in him to flat out say yes, but the look on his face said it all. Judy called him earlier today gushing about how excited she is for the wedding and that she's picked out her dress and wants a mother-groom dance. Joey told her not to come. She went all weepy and started begging, and at that point, I asked him to give me the phone, and I flat out told her that if she sets one foot in that wedding, I will personally drag her out of it. And this has caused a stir in our family. Our other siblings think I have influenced Joey, and I should convince him to let her come if she promises to behave. I told them all that since they've helped him very little and don't know his side of things, that they can kiss my ass. So, am I the a-hole? Here are some relevant comments. People asking, will there be alcohol at the wedding? It will be a dry wedding. Joey won't go near alcohol for obvious reasons, and his fiancé is a sweet religious type. That said, I worry Judy would show up already hammered. More comments about the accident and who was driving. Unfortunately, Joey was driving when they were hit, but the crash was 100% not his fault. His father was on blood thinners and had internal injuries and just lost too much blood and couldn't recover. Joey broke his wrist and had some burn from the seatbelt, but was otherwise fine. Why didn't anyone ask Joey to move in with them until his mom got help? Joey was invited to stay with me every time. I tried to talk him out of going back while also trying to walk that fine line between him being an adult but also still young. Is he in a rush to get married and to get away from his mom? I don't believe so. He's been with his fiancée since they were 16. Despite his circumstances, he knows what he is doing. They planned on having a longer engagement, but logistically, they're in a position to just do the darn thing. Though, yes, they are both young. Where was the support for your sister in all of this? It seems like she was just told to get therapy, but nothing else. I'm glad you asked, and I don't think it's controversial at all. There was support for her. I lived with them for the first 2 weeks to help her take care of the house and arrangements. We have 2 other siblings who visited periodically. She was very quick to insist she no longer needed help after that, so we backed off. Similar to Joey in this situation, she would call if she needed to talk or needed the house cleaned or anything, but those became less and less until help was met with frustration. I think all of that was normal. Extra support was offered during holidays and anniversaries. When it became obvious she needed help beyond me is when we suggested therapy, as that's all we knew to do at that point. And I agree, I lack sympathy for her now. What I did have has been buried by anger for how she's treated Joey and his fiancé. She has been nothing but cruel to that girl, which is weird to me because she is angry at her for taking away her boy, but is equally driving him away. It's all a mess right now, but I only have the strength and patience for Joey and his fiancé. And could her driving drunk and her crash be an attempt on her own life? She denies it, but Joey and I both think the DUI crash was an attempt. And then finally, when attempting to reach a verdict on the post, one user said that everyone in the story was just the a-hole, to which OP replied with, "Friend, you could have called me an unsympathetic B-word and I would have not been offended. I understand nuance. All is well." I don't know about you guys, but OP gives me mama bear vibes, and not even if she needs to be a mother, but the fact that she strikes me as someone who's like super protective for the people she cares for and who's loyal for, and if she needed to throw hands, she totally would, right? And she's even like, hey, you could call me a B-word, like it's fine, I get it. I love people like this. Oh my, she's like, you know what? I don't mince words. I'm straight up. I'm a little bit in the wrong here, but I own it. And you know what? I respect that. I love people like this. I can only hope that one day me and my future wife get into a bar fight together. I swing left, she swings right, and then we both get kicked out at the same time. And that is real love. Let's continue. Update 1. I've slowly figured out how to share smaller updates. I know a few of you are concerned. Any good vibes, well wishes, or whatever you believe in for Joey would be appreciated. He insists it's a stomach bug going around, but he's been nauseous all day at work, but won't leave. He refuses to block Judy, and she has been calling him every few hours. He's not answering, but he's worried blocking her will put her over the edge. I'm trying to work with her to get his things from her house, but she won't speak to me. She will only speak to Joey, who won't speak to her. So I'm letting her cool off for a few days. Goodness knows I need to before I rip her a new one. Thankfully, his essentials are here at my house, so there isn't anything he needs. As far as I know, this is his last week before he gets some time off before the wedding. They'll be moving his fiancée into the apartment they're leasing next week, and he'll join her after the wedding. She's religious, and he says he's feeling excited to get to those things. Thanks everyone for caring about my family. Sincerely, Aunt Undertaker. Update. New post titled, I don't even know what to title this. Just sharing so I don't explode. This was an interaction between me and my sister. Me. Checking in. Are you sober? Sister. Yes, god dang. I'm just asking so I can come get his stuff. Please? One less thing on your plate. No, he can call or text me and he can arrange to come get his stuff. Until then, you are not permitted to. For God's sake, he has been paying to keep a roof over your head for how long? And this is how you act? Why can't you set everything out for me to pick up for him? Then you don't have to see either of us. I know you're going through a hard time too, but you're making it harder for no reason.
A hard time? My son won't let me come to his one and only wedding, and you're backing him up, so I'm having a very hard time, thanks.
Okay, you're having a very hard time. I can't even imagine. He is also going through a hard time as well. He's been throwing up sick at work for 2 days to pay your bills after you told him he would be better off dead to you? As his mother? You're going to leave me no choice but to come with the effing police to get his stuff.
I don't give a damn. I want to talk to my son.
Well, he doesn't want to talk to you. I'll be around with some officers this weekend. Let me know if you change your mind. For once, I wish you would think of your son.
Tell him to think of and call his mother.
I'm not going to do that. If you want to talk to him, then get your life together. Then, in the comment section, some people said they wish they would postpone the wedding. I wish they would too. Joey is convinced he can pull himself together for it. I asked if they could, and he said his fiance's parents would forfeit their deposits on everything, the venue, catering, etc. We'll see. I'm hoping it can still be a great day for them.
Then in the comments, OP added more context and gave more info on therapy.
The more I talked to them both about it, the more I think that once the wedding got to be about a month out, Judy just lost it and started dragging Joey down with her. He held it together until he just couldn't. Now they're too far in to push anything back. His soon-to-be father-in-law is connecting him with a good therapist. His father-in-law and mother-in-law are absolute saints. Then someone commented and asked, has your sister had a mental health evaluation, or is there any update on her? I know she's been sober for a couple of weeks, which means the most recent rage, the one that sent him over the edge, was not fueled by alcohol. And she's supposed to be following up with a rehab program. She won't do inpatient, but I'm convinced that's what she needs. Update. Post 2. Firstly, thank you so much. I did not expect anything but a couple of responses with some thoughts, and instead got an overwhelming flood of encouragement and support for my nephew and I. Things have still been hard, but I'll try to be brief. First, Joey spent 2 days stomach sick, but kept working so he could pay his mom's mortgage one more time. So that was lovely for him. Judy and I went back and forth about trying to get his things back. I was planning on going with Joey to get his things with the police yesterday. The police said Joey has to be there since it's his property. However, Judy insisted that she had taken everything to a dumpster and not to bother. I asked Joey what he wanted to do in case she was lying, and he said not to go since there wasn't anything very valuable or that he couldn't live without. Then, she had the nerve to text him last night asking one more time to reconsider allowing her to come to the wedding. When he didn't respond, she said he was not just being hateful to her, but also to his late father, because, as she put it, having me there is like having him there in spirit. Joey said no and finally put his foot down, telling her that her bills were paid for the month and that he's blocking her. I sent her a hell of a message myself that I don't regret and haven't heard from her at all today. I will not be blocking her, by the way. Despite how some readers might feel, I do care about her and want to check in to make sure she is safe. Meanwhile, Joey has been moving his fiancée into their apartment today. I've checked in a couple of times and he says it's going well. He sent me a picture of them smiling with moving boxes as proof. And for anyone wondering, I have asked a friend who is a retired officer to come to the wedding to watch out for Judy. Granted, she doesn't have a car right now. The venue is also aware. I feel okay about that, but honestly, I feel like I'm going to have a hard time watching the ceremony and not being out there myself keeping watch, but I'm going to try my dang hardest to enjoy it. Judy knows not to cross me like that, so I know seeing me at the door will turn her away. But hopefully that won't even be necessary. Here are some more relevant comments. One user said, WTF is up with the rest of your family, and do they know how bad it has gotten? OP replied with, to them, anything that's not in front of their dang faces doesn't exist. They live in their own worlds. Update, a text conversation between Joey and his mother. His mother said, keeping me out of your wedding day is just like keeping your dad and his memory out in spirit. So you're not just being hateful to me, you're being hateful to him. So think about that while you still have some time, for God's sakes. Joey said, okay, that's fine. Mortgage and cell phone bill are paid for January. Utilities too. Blocking you now. I hope you get help. Bye, Mom. And then finally, OP texted this to her sister. If there are any photos left that you did not burn of you all as a family when Joey was young, please take some time to look at them. Then imagine someone hurting that sweet little boy you both loved, because that's exactly what you've been doing all these years. His father would be crushed. Absolutely crushed. I know I am. I know Joey is. Get some help. Then get on your knees and pray that someday your son might forgive you if you can ever learn to love him again. You can call or text me if you need help and to let me know you're safe. Otherwise, just get some help and stay out of Joey's new life. Update post number 3, January 12th, 2024. Am I the a-hole for crying at my nephew's wedding? Well, the day started with me receiving multiple calls and texts from Judy, ranging from apologies to calling me every name in the book for keeping her away from her son on his big day. I reminded her to stay away, and that if she didn't, she would be ushered out. And if it came down to it, by me. I told other relatives that if they dared to bring her, they would be kicked out and they'd probably never hear from Joey again. All that said, Joey and his wife did the dang thing. They had an amazing, small, intimate wedding. I haven't cried since my dad died decades ago, and today I was a weepy mess, but in the best way. I cried through the ceremony. I cried when I saw the reception with tables for board games. That's so creative, at least I think so. Joey and his wifey, despite the odds against them, had a great day. Joey was truly happy for the first time in far too long. So, am I the a-hole for being a crybaby at my nephew's wedding? I'm exhausted, so I'll talk to you all after a good night's sleep. Just wanted to share the update I promised. Mini update post number 4, January 13th, 2024. Last night was it. Joey and his wife tied the knot, and it was a lovely evening for everyone. I sobbed all throughout. These two have been together since early high school, so seeing them commit to each other was awesome. And Joey looked and sounded truly happy, something I haven't seen in quite some time. Thank you all for the care. Well, this seems like a relatively good ending on the up and up. Hopefully, the mom, maybe there might be one of those updates 6 months from now, who knows? But hopefully, the mom gets some help because Lord knows she needed some. She became an alcoholic. She said some bad things. She went through some bad stuff and then got worse for it, which happened. But hopefully, she can now become a better person and hopefully mend the relationship that is so heavily damaged and bent with her son. And OP is freaking awesome, Mama Bear. I want to meet this woman and then fumble the conversation because I don't know how to talk to women. Anyway, what do you guys think? Thoughts, opinions? Is the a-hole not the a-hole? Somewhere in the middle? Too harsh? Not harsh enough? Let's go to the next story. Story number 2. Stick me with hidden charges? I'll show you. So, this past Christmas, my missus and I purchased one of our 9-year-old son's Santa gifts from a certain UK sports retail company. That company also has many stores here in Ireland as well. It was a football rebounder, kind of like a trampoline that you kick the ball at and it bounces back to you. Anyway, we purchased it from their Irish website and thought nothing more of it. A few days go by, and we get a notification from a certain brown uniformed courier company that there are customs charges due on something. And as you can imagine, we've bought many things for the kids, so we had to double check what we've ordered. And we didn't have anything left that was being imported, so we naturally assumed it was a scam. So I told the wife to call the company and find out who shipped it, and it was a different courier company based in the UK. After a bit of digging and investigating, it turns out that it's our rebounder. They had shipped it from the UK via a local carrier to the brown uniformed guys to deliver to us. Now, my wife and I are both on disability, so an additional charge of almost 50 euros when you're both already on a fixed income is harsh, especially at Christmas. So I told her to pay it and I had to deal with the retailer. The first day I called, I had to call 3 times, being stuck on hold for at least 20 minutes each time. But I was patient and polite because I've worked in a call center before, so I knew these people are only doing their job. But I asked to speak to a manager and was promised a callback, and each time that never happened. The second day was quite similar. The third day, I was starting to get annoyed, so I called back, waiting even longer on hold, and finally, I wasn't taking this any longer. I told the rep that all I wanted was the 50 euros back, because our consumer rights in Ireland dictate that a person must be informed of any additional charges on a purchase, or at the very latest, by the final checkout screen. And in this case, there was nothing to show that, and I could easily replicate the issue by putting the same item in my basket and going all the way to the checkout screen again, and there was nothing saying we'd have to pay import charges. The rep was indifferent to the situation, but tried to help, and what he said sent me over the edge. He offered a measly €20 gift voucher to use on their website, but more importantly, he read a statement to me. He said, "We advise our customers that there may be DDU charges, delivery duty unpaid, customer charges, on any item that gets shipped out of the UK." Then I asked him where it states this information, and he paused, then said he didn't actually know. I said, "Well, I know one thing, it doesn't say it anywhere on this transaction, because I've checked, and because this is a violation of my consumer rights, I'm going to give your company one last chance to make this right. Have your manager call me within the next 60 minutes, or I'm going to post this entire debacle on LinkedIn and link every senior officer in your company." Then I hung up on the phone and waited. Yet again, no call. The next day, I went on LinkedIn and followed through with my promise. I created a post detailing what they had been done by sticking us with hidden charges and that they were ignoring our requests for a manager and everything they said and did. Then I tagged every senior officer at that company, from the regional managers through the European directors all the way to the CEO, and I shamed them for how they operate their company. This, ladies and gentlemen, was now an act of war. Shortly after I posted that, I noticed that they took down the item from their website in an attempt to hide this. But they must have thought that I'm a simpleton that doesn't understand how the internet works. They didn't realize that when you searched for rebounder on their website, that it shows the item in question. So I took a screenshot of that and then another of the item page that was now missing. But then I did a Google cached search for the same page and found a version from 2 days prior happily showing the item. Then I added a comment to my original post highlighting how they were trying to hide it with the evidence and trolling them for their heinous behavior, especially at Christmas. Then I tagged and shamed all the senior officers again, and at this point it was really starting to get some attention. Not only publicly, but 3 people in incognito mode viewed my profile. I wonder who they could have been. So naturally, I take a screenshot of the 3 mysterious visitors listed on my profile, and did the same thing. I then once again commented on my own post, highlighting it and trolling them for their incompetence. The next morning, I got a call from a senior exec at their head office in the UK, practically licking my boots with apologies, asking what she can do to make this right. I told her I originally only wanted my €50 back, as it wasn't fair nor even legal that I had to pay it. But since I had to go to such lengths to get their attention now, I wanted my $50 back and a full refund of my entire purchase. And I wanted to keep the product. That was the only thing that would make this go away. She asked for a couple of hours to fix it, and I said okay. About an hour later, I got another call from her again apologizing. She asked for my PayPal address, where she sent the €50 and then refunded the whole purchase, and she let us keep the product. Obviously, I thanked her for her help, because at that stage, I was just happy it was over. But they have another thing coming if I'll let anyone walk all over my family, even if it is a company that makes $58 million a year. The moral of the story here is, don't take BS from anyone. I may be just one man, but my son's view of Santa is far more valuable to me than the opinion of some retail chain that doesn't care about its customers nor how it operates ethically. Santa Claus is such a cool guy. I hope to meet him someday again as an adult, and actually, I would like to have him on the channel one of these days. But good on OP for sticking up to this company, and to be honest, right, you could just let €50 go, but he said like, hey, we're kind of tight on money, so I'm gonna fight, and y'all gonna pay for it, figuratively and literally. Take that $58 million company, €58 million company, stupid Irish British jerks. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Leave a comment on the stories here today. There was one really long one and then a short one. That's all we have. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.